Hey everyone, it's your favorite girl again, Corinne Lafont from Between the Lines, broadcasting to you from the lovely island of Trinidad and Tobago. I have with me JV Fuji. He told me to just call him that because if I were to tell you his full name, it might be a bit difficult. But but if you see him here, if you see him here, he's just so handsome, a handsome young man. He's half white, half Japanese. So I guess his name is Japanese. So I will try to pronounce it just for the sake of the show. So it's Fuji Shin. Don't ask me what it means. When he comes back on the show, we'll figure that out. So so we're talking today about having meaningful conversations. And before I go into that, let me tell you a bit about JV, or I would call him Jared, but you can call him JV, okay? He gets paid for doing the very thing he got in trouble for as a kid in school, talking. Don't we all? Oh my God, I got written up in my reports for that. Corinne talks too much. Corinne talks too much. And here I am doing this thing. Oh my God, Jared, that's what I'm doing. So JV Fuji is a conversation expert who has dedicated his life to teaching others how to never feel awkward in conversation again. Oh my God, we have so much to talk about. Starting as a middle school teacher with a master's degree in communication, he was alarmed at the growing number of students he saw suffering from social anxiety and loneliness each year. This concern for his students drove him, can you imagine it, drove him to handcraft a curriculum that would ensure the participant to learn the essential and most important elements of communication. Welcome, Jared, to Between the Lines.
Man, it is so good to be here. And I'm so excited to hang out and talk with you for a little bit. Thanks for having me on Between the Lines.
I know, it's great to have you. And I so want to apologize to my audience for not showing myself. I've been showing myself a little lately after being away from the camera a bit because I was down with the flu. And so I was coughing up a storm. And so I just had to keep myself from the camera, mute myself at times because I was just coughing. I'm still not totally over, but I'm much better than where I was. But I am so happy to have you because, you know, your intro, your bio really speaks to me. And when I started saying it, I remembered myself because my reports in school was always that. It was, Corinne talks too much. She needs to settle down. And I'm like, look at how adults curtail us from being expressive, from being who we are, from a young child. They just stop us. They stop our imagination, stop us from talking. And this is the very thing that we are doing today. My life is around PR and communications. You know, you are doing communications. You built a curriculum to helping people because we are not able to talk freely, Jared. You know, and you talk about anxiety and loneliness because we don't know how to interact with others. And to make it worse, technology has come in and everything is all about texting. So if you were dating me or looking to date me, Jared, the thing nowadays I see is for you to text me. You're not going to call me or talk to me or come up to me and feel confident to talk to me. So let's get straight into it. Why? It said it drove you to the point. No, you're young. What do you mean it drove you to the point of you're a young man. You're not.
That's a great. 50. Yeah, I love it. That's a great question.
50. You're not 50 or 60.
I know. And I think that just goes, you know, Corinne, to prove the point of how serious this is, that even the younger generations are seeing there might be a problem with only texting or only doing things online. You know, in my bio, you talked about.
Are they really? They seem to be all into it. I don't know. Are they really concerned?
Well, you know, it's real interesting because as I worked with a lot of youth, and I still do, I do some coaching and I work with youth. A lot of them love social media and texting. However, simultaneously, while they love it, they also openly admit that it is a hindrance and a lot of drama comes from misinterpretation of texting.
Yes.
So they love it. They're addicted to it. And myself included, you know, I love texting real quick. You know, I'll shoot my wife a message or I'll do something. But they see that there can easily be miscommunication. And
Yeah.
then what makes it worse is when they do get one-on-one and they get face-to-face, sometimes they, and myself included, we all kind of can feel uncomfortable at times if we don't know the secrets to how to thrive in conversation.
I love how you segue into that, the secrets of how to thrive. So let's drive straight into that. What I didn't even know there was a secret. It seems everything is a
Oh.
secret these days. There's a book called The Secret. There's a book called The Secret. And there's a secret to everything. So I clearly, I mean, I just love doing the shows because you see, as a host, I get to find out the secret. And then,
And your listeners get to
yes,
find it out for free as well.
that's right. I get to find out the secret. So let's get straight into the secret of thriving in conversation. I mean, and let's talk about conversations with people in a work setting, if we can, conversations in relationships, meaning I see a girl or I see a guy that I like and I want to approach them. Conversations in, you're just hanging out at a cafe and you meet a total stranger, or you're in the elevator. What is that, those three secrets that can help to alleviate the social anxiety, the loneliness if you're living alone at home and you're single and you have no one? How do we get around that?
And all of those scenarios are real life. And we've all been there, we've faced it, and there are listeners right now who are facing it. And here's what I have to say. Number one, sometimes we get in our own head. My whole curriculum is based around never feeling awkward in conversation again. And a lot of times we feel awkward because we think it's all about us. We say, well, I need to talk about me, and it needs to be about me, and what if I'm not interesting, and me, I. That's the problem right there. Secret number one, you got to not think about yourself so much. You got to transition to asking questions and be less interested about, being interesting, and be more focused on being interested. Okay, I mean, that's a tweetable moment right there for you guys.
Yeah, that's a tweetable
less concerned about being
I like that. That's a tweetable
about being interesting, and be more concerned about being interested.
Yeah.
So that's step number one, Kareen, is ask great questions. When you meet someone, let's say you're at a coffee shop, you said the example. Go in, and instead of walking up and saying, well, I'm a really big deal, here's everything you need, because that's right? They want to hear, wow, what's your name? What do you do? Oh, interesting. Tell me more about that. You just are so interested, and be genuine, be interested and ask questions. And that's going to open up doors.
I have been in conversations. I don't even know if it's a conversation now that we are framing it that way, because a conversation is a dialogue between two or more people where you're learning and sharing. But when it's one person focusing on themselves and just talking about themselves, I don't know if that's considered a conversation. Really?
That's a monologue.
Right? And they don't realize that. And I'm like, in my head, I'm having the conversation with myself, and I'm like, is this guy realizing that he's talking about himself all the time? He seems to just focus on himself. It's all about him. Is he really listening to what he's saying? I am so bored with this. I'm not even getting a chance to get anything in. How do I get out of this thing? I am like,
and especially if you're talking like in a romantic setting, you're on a first date. Oh my gosh. The two worst things you could do on a first date: talk all about yourself, or pull out your cell phone and just look at your phone while you're supposed to be looking at the other person.
Hell no. The pull out the phone thing, hell no. No.
It's the worst. It's just disrespectful.
I am like, what are you doing? No, I watch a guy did that to me. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And he'd be like,
hey,
I'm just answering. I'm like, what? On our time? Hell no. Did you see me pull out my phone? Did you see me?
And I get this question a lot, especially when I'm coaching women and they say, well, what do I do? How do I set the environment, or how do I create the culture where we say no phones? And here's some advice I have for that. If you're on a first date, you want to address it before it becomes a problem. So one thing that I've advised, and I've even done this with some of my friends, it's just almost like game. Before the dinner even starts or lunch or wherever you are, you turn it into a game and say, hey, let's all put our phones face down on the table, and the first one to reach for their phone has to grab the bill or has to buy a round of drinks.
I
Or,
love
you turn
that.
it into something fun so
Yeah.
everyone's engaged instead of waiting for the moment when someone pulls out their phone and then you say, would you put that away? Because then and then it's just like a bad, rough culture. But if you can make
But
it fun and playful.
here it is, Jared. The person who takes up the phone, even if you don't do that nice tip that you're sharing, make it into a nice soft way of dealing with it. They will say, I have to answer my phone. This is my kids. This is my wife. I'm expecting an important call. There will always be a reason to pick up that. There will always be. And I find it strange when I've been on retreats. I've been to places where it's a no phone zone. It's like from the time you enter the place, wherever you go, they grab your phone. They like drop the phones in the bag. The next 3 days, there are no phones. And you're like, what? How am I going to survive? But after a while, you don't even remember the damn phone. You don't even remember the phone. You're like, at the end of the 3 days or the week, you're like, my life was so much better without a phone. I didn't even, you were so free. So the phone has become such an intrusive aspect in communication that people don't even know how to control it. I've been with girlfriends and we're sitting there, and instead of talking with each other, they're actually texting in the circle. And I'm like, what's going on here? No, but I am the bold type, Jared. I tell the guy, what are you doing? What are you doing? Did you see me pull up my phone? I just get.
I love that.
Yeah,
I'm not sometimes you gotta just be direct.
Yeah, I am not even softening it. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? So that was tip number 1. I think you're sharing so many different tips as we go along. So what are the other secrets?
You know what? For you, Corrine, and your listeners, you're getting the whole bag of tricks today. I'm not holding anything back. No sales pitch. You're just getting everything for free today.
Oh, nice.
That's how much I love you all.
Oh, my gosh. And we love you too. Oh, my gosh. So go ahead. Let's hear what other secrets you have to deal with it, especially the women who are probably on the date and the different scenarios. What are some other juicy secrets?
Yeah. So here's another one. There's something called active listening. And you said specifically men, and it's interesting. This is a generalization. I mean, it's not always true, but as they've done studies in the communication field, men tend to have the hardest time with this. Women, you guys are a higher life form. You guys are really good at this, but men have a hard time with active listening. So I have some advice specifically for men. It's true. And for the women, if you're going on a date, look for men like this. Women deserve to have men who are worthy of them. So you want men who can active listen. And here's what active listening is. If you're at a coffee or, on a walk or a date or wherever you are, and you're telling a story, you do not want someone who zones out and then when they check back in, they start talking about themselves. You want someone who's giving some head nods, who's listening, who's saying, so what you're saying is, and they're repeating back to you, so they're actually listening to you.
Yeah.
Stuff like this is so important.
Yeah, the active listening, I don't know. I think something happens to men. Their brain, I don't know. They zone out quickly. I don't know what it is that really engages them that they will be actively listening. Sometimes they are so easily distracted. Especially if you're in a coffee shop too, or anywhere where it's public and it's not just you and him alone. A woman might be passing by and they will notice that other woman. Or something maybe going on the screen, especially if there's sports going on the screen. They're taken up and they're like, wow, didn't you see what happened? I'm like, what? Are you here with me? I'm like, it's me and you here. What? Right?
And to give some hope, because I know we have some male listeners, this is a totally learned trait. Anyone can learn to do this. It just takes intentionality and awareness. We first got to realize that sometimes we get distracted. And maybe there are some women who get distracted too, but any of us, we all got to learn, hey, when someone's talking, I got to make eye contact. And I got to non-verbally, meaning without words, let them know I'm listening. And that looks like, giving them a head nod,
Yeah.
smiling a little bit,
Yeah.
engaging with them. And then every once in a while, when I interject, it's not to say, that reminds me of a time. No.
Yeah.
Back up.
Oh.
It's to say, so what you're saying is, and
Yeah.
mirror it back to them to show you're listening.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, men, if you're listening, this is going to get you more dates than you know what to do with. Women, if you're listening, you go tell your man to do this, and your relationship is going to go to the next level.
Yeah. I love when a man listens. And a woman, let me tell you, I'm telling you, a woman needs a man to listen.
It's important.
And it is true. It is true. A woman needs a man because we talk a lot. We have to express ourselves. We like to clarify, explain, and so a man would be like, get to the point quickly, and I'm the type of woman that I would say to somebody, get to the point quickly, because I can't take the long winding conversation. I would say, get to the point. But if we're out on a date, and we're talking about something, you shouldn't put a time on what I say or how long I take to say a particular thing, because I may have some history behind that I need to share to put things within a context so that you understand where I'm coming from. And I've had conversations with people that actually check the time. They would say, I listened to you for 12 minutes. I'm like, or for 5 minutes. I'm like, what? Hell no. And they would look at their watch, or their clock or their phone to watch the time, and they might say, yeah, I've listened to you for the past whatever minutes. I'm like, really? You just did that? You actually look at your watch or your clock?
And that can be real hurtful. On one level, as we're talking about it, we're kind of laughing about the past, but when you're in the moment, that can be extremely offensive. And I know there have been times, well, when it comes down to it, one of the definitions of love is patience, that love is patient and that it's kind. And I think as we listen, we need to be so patient. And that's one of the ways we communicate love, because men and women do communicate differently. But to our men listening, even if that's not your natural communication style, if you really love the other person, you have to learn to adapt. And the same, it goes both ways. Women can adapt and men can adapt. And together, you form this beautiful new way of communicating where you're both adapting to each other's needs instead of fighting for your needs. And when you do that, man, that is a great relationship.
I will give you a situation. I know a guy that once you call him on the phone, he falls asleep on you and he yawns in the conversation.
Oh no.
But when he's texting, he's alive and alert. Now, I am like, how is it I'm calling you, we're talking, and I'm actually hearing you yawning? Now, I hate when a guy yawns. I don't yawn in a conversation. So when somebody's yawning, I take that as an offense. And I'm like, you're bored with me. Why are you yawning like that? That is just so disrespectful. It is disrespectful. I am not yawning. I'm alert and alive when I'm talking to you. But when
you're ready.
But when when it's a texting, he's all up. It could be 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. He's very alert. Very alert. Now explain to me this type of guy, because I'm sure there may be other women who are facing this particular situation, and how to deal with that.
That's a great question, Kareen. The first thing I would instruct people in my coaching, if this were to come up, is I would say think long term. If you're dating this guy and you're on a few dates, it may be easy to justify and say, but our conversation is so good when we text, he's a sweet guy. But think long term. If you're going to marry this guy, you're not going to be texting him next to him in bed. You're going to be talking face to face. And if the face to face relationship is not thriving, that may be something to look at. And you may want to cut it off before it gets too far in the relationship. Or, Kareen, you're a very direct person. I could see someone like you saying, do you need some more sleep, or why are you yawning? Was that a boring statement? And so for direct people, you could be real direct. If you're not as direct or that makes you uncomfortable, trying to find different avenues. Are there different times of the day where he's more awake, or is there a medical issue going on? And if there's not, I would say, man, you deserve
Yeah.
someone who you feel like respects you. And if you feel like that's disrespectful and you've articulated that and you've told him that and he hasn't changed,
Yeah.
then it may be time to look for someone who you feel is respectful and mindful of you.
You know, I like that you keep reiterating and reminding women, and not only women but men too, of being valued. And
Exactly.
one of the things that we tend to do is compromise our standards for the
Yeah, we
sake of
do.
for the sake of stupid things that in the end, after how many years or months or whatever it may be, you're like, I should have cut this off. I saw it, I should have cut this off, and you didn't. You
Exactly.
know, and you're absolutely right. You know, just be direct. I mean, I'm direct. Just be direct. You don't like something is a red flag.
Yeah,
Don't try to cover it. Don't try to paint it a different color to make it look nice and bright in front of you. Don't make
that's
excuses. It is what it is. Because like for this guy, he says, look, Corinne, you know, I'm better at texting. I'm more alert. When it comes to conversation, you know, talking on the phone, I just get bored. And probably because he has to be because he has to be alert to text properly. You know, fingers make sure he says the right words and whatever. He has to be more alert. But when it comes to
right.
talking on the phone, he starts to yawn. And for me, I just cannot tolerate that. So I don't
And
do much talking with him on the phone. If I talk with him, it's very like less than 5 minutes. Get straight to the point. I need so, whatever. Done. Click, hang up. You know, it's not.
And that's great to know. Like, you are very self-aware and you know what you like and don't like. And,
Yeah.
you know, this gentleman, I'm sure he's a great guy and it's good to be friends with him. But in the
Yeah.
romantic sphere, you know, that's not someone you may want to spend the rest of your life with if you see warning signs now. Like exactly what you're saying. Don't try to see a red flag and then think, no, that'll get better in the future. It doesn't get better if you don't address it. In fact, it may only get worse. So
Yeah.
you really want to be focusing on that.
Yeah, I want to focus on your website in coming up in the last few minutes because I know you have a commitment, and I don't
Yeah.
want you to be running late. So
Thank you.
we have your website here, starconversations.com.
Yep.
And just to kind of do a quick tour of it so people know about you and how to get to you. So tell us some main places you want to feature on your site. I see you have an online course.
The online course right now is helping so many people, and it really is what we're talking about. How do you never feel awkward in conversation again? And I have, as you see here, a free sample. You can try it for free.
Oh, nice.
And then you can sign up, and the 4 parts, you get certification after you do it, after you take an exam. And I'm even introducing in the next month or two some personalized coaching. Usually it's only local, but I'm opening it up to an internet global kind of thing because there's been such a high demand for it. And I just love people. I love talking with people and growing with
That's
people.
what
And
gets
so
you in trouble in school. That's what got you in trouble in school.
Exactly. And now I'm getting paid to do it. But I love it. I love it. So I'm going to be doing that. But in the meantime,
I hope you tell your teachers that.
And I had great teachers. They were so nice, but they're just like, now JV, we gotta, we gotta learn. Okay, I'm sorry. But yeah, just for now, you know, you only have so much time in the day. And so I started this online course so that I could get to everyone and get this information out. So if anyone's feeling awkward in conversation, or you want to learn how to take your conversations to the next level, you do that online course and it is going to thrive. And then I have some different parts. You can meet me and learn a little more about me. And then I have some free quick tips, that last link up there. And if you just want some free advice, follow that. It's just some free quick tips that are going to help you, and then a little blog writing on it and just some thoughts of how do I engage and thrive in conversation.
Oh my God, you have the gossip test. Listen.
That's a hard one. Be ready for it before you do it.
The gossip test. I was telling someone the other day, I said, listen, if gossiping was making me money, I would do a lot of it. But because but it's not, it's anything I do, I always think about that. Anything I do that's not helping me get closer to my goals and dreams, I don't do it. So
That's good.
yes, if it's not getting me closer to my goals and dreams, I'm not doing it. So if talking to that person is not helping me, no. And it might seem selfish. It might seem selfish, yes. But you see, when you realize that time is against you and you know you don't know when that moment may come and you're no longer here and you just need to be laser focused, you have to know where to spend your time, Jared.
Exactly. You got to be focused.
Yes, you have to know where to spend your time. And it's not that I'm saying you wouldn't have time to do other things that may waste your time, but that's a choice.
Exactly.
And that's a choice. And you decide what percentage of your time you want to waste.
Exactly.
Okay? And people may get upset by hearing me say that, but I've learned it the hard way and I've wasted a lot of time, and now is not the time to be wasting even more time.
You don't have the time to waste. You got to focus on what's important. And for me, there's nothing more important than relationships, and relationships come from great conversation. And that's why, you know, I have people that are nervous about the price of a course or things like that, but people who really understand the importance of a healthy relationship, you can't put a price on it. Like learning these things are priceless because it will change your life.
Yeah. And it's the foundation on everything. No matter whether technology exists, you know, or something new comes about. I don't care what they do with phones, or if they turn it Star Trekky and we get to beam me up Scotty. I don't care what we do. There must be conversations. We have to talk. We have to talk, and we have to network, because that is where business is built. That is where relationships with, you know, with the opposite sexes built, friendships are built. We have to have conversation. So whether the phone gets in the way, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I love the way you have this laid out, you know, with the quick images. People know exactly, you know, what it is that they're looking for. They can get straight to it. I think people should start with a gossip test. You know, people should start with a gossip test.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one. Start with a gossip test. Oh my goodness. And you keep adding. So you have started from tip number 1 and now you're at tip number 22. So that's awesome.
And I'll keep adding every week.
Wonderful.
Oh, well, Karine, I love talking with you. You have been incredible. Can I just say one last thing to our listeners?
Of course.
Well, I just want to leave you with this one last thought. That your relationships are worth it, that conversation is worth it. Invest in yourself, even if it is fine, invest and grow, because it is worth it.
Beautiful way to end the show. Thank you so much, JV, for being on Between the Lines, for taking the time. I definitely have to have you back on. We have to be doing some work together, because clearly people need to get back to the basics, get back to the core, in order to be able to know how to have meaningful conversations. And I'm going to let you go so that you can go do your teach people what you do best, have meaningful conversations. Thank you so much for being here. And I wish you all the best, and in your business, in your personal life, in your marriage, and whatever else that you have going for you. Thank you so much, JP, for being here.
Thank you. And I love you all Between the Lines. Have a great one. See you soon.
You too. Bye.